All right, welcome back, YouTube. So we're gonna be, well, first I'm gonna give you an update on kind of what we've been getting set up for. Most of y'all know, obviously we got transmission back in the car, and I made a note a few videos back in regards to having to redo the tunnel, and I think that video was during the video when we got the transmission all back and the chassis redone and back from ties. So we got to rebuild the tunnel, and that's kind of what we're working on right now. We had to wait on the yoke, so we kind of knew where that U-joint was going to be for the start of the tunnel, so we wanted to ensure that it was going to cover up that joint completely. So we have kind of started the process of that. We actually redid the pan underneath, so we had to add a couple extra brackets, and it's going to be somewhat tough to see from up top, but here's one of the brackets that I added in here. We got another one there, and then also added two more. There's one here and one directly on the other side. So this pan can mount back up, because where it all changed, obviously the bars that were cut out where those Zeus tabs were, they're no longer going to work. So we are going to have a couple holes in there, but it is what it is. And the pan actually sits a little bit below the car, just a little bit, not too much. You can see it right there. So what we've done is we've cut it out on the floor pan here, the carbon, and we're in the process of finishing up this. We decided to go ahead and make our own little pan that'll mount to that carbon there. So the resin's all drying up now as we speak, so we'll drill some holes in that, and then it'll Zeus to that pan, and that pan will Zeus to the chassis. So we're going to paint this, sand it down a little bit, clean it up, and then paint it and put it in. So that way, if anything were to leak, obviously it'll leak inside this pan and not all over the track. So and we'll make it easy to access and get in and out with those Zeuses in there. So that'll be pretty nice. And what we're doing now is we're working on the tunnel. I guess you consider it, obviously you got the loop here, but kind of the cross member. This is actually going to go in between the top two frame rails right here. It's going to run from this side to that side, and then that hoop's going to be right here. So this will be virtually the start of the tunnel itself right here over this yoke. So this is actually also where my shifter is going to mount, right in this general area. So we'll have another loop that we hope will attach to our previous tabs that we had on here. There's the loop, and then we'll finish the rest of the tunnel up with all sheet metal in here. And yeah, so really the time consuming part here is just make sure everything's plumb and obviously wide enough for the drive shaft and everything like that. So we're going to get to work on it. We've already cut out some of this loop, so this bar will seat down in here a little bit. You can see there. So this bar will kind of seat up in there, and I'll actually set just a little bit lower because we got some levers in here. I got them bent down or rolled down now. So we just want to make sure that when we pull these, that the cable will pull out far enough to activate what those need to activate there. So that's what that's for. We're going to go directly in between each of these, and yeah, we should be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and start the process and start welding this together and get that tunnel built. Yeah. Here's our here's our rig here. So we are putting that front loop in, and what we've done, you probably never seen this or never see it again, but just to ensure that this loop center, we took this cardboard, cut it out the exact same width as the yoke all the way around, so it's sticking dead center of that yoke. And then our makeshift drive shaft, dead center of the rear end on up, and then we've squared the loop here off of, well, we squared this foam off of the makeshift drive shaft and then squared the loop off the foam there. So I know it's pretty funny looking, but, and I'm not going to tell you it's going to work. We haven't done anything yet, but we'll see what happens. And then we took a straight edge all the way across the top frame rails and measured down just to ensure that it's set in the same height and it's level both sides there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tack the tabs. We've already cleaned off the old powder coat there on both sides. I don't know if I'm going to get that there. And then I'm just going to tack it, and then we're going to adjust those to ensure that they're center of the bar there. So that's what we've done. We had to remove the carbon from the top frame rail. Unfortunately, man, when you're pulling this stuff off, it can get pretty fragile, especially those long pieces like that. I think that was like 54 inches long that we had it cut at, and it buckled in the middle and broke them both. So we were really close to getting it all off, and then just got flimsy on us. And I knew there was a chance, but we'll have to replace that. Either way, we had to take it off and get it welded. This all welded in anyway. So we're gonna tack that, and we're gonna make some adjustments, put it back in there, finish weld it, and then we'll take the loop out, weld those ends on, and then start the tunnel on back. So hopefully this will all go good. The transmission doesn't set directly towards the rear end there, so we're just basing the tunnel off of where the drive shaft's going to be. There we go. I got it all welded up. The front piece of the tunnel onto that little cross member there. So got down in there and welded it in 4 different spots. Should be plenty significant to hold it all together. But left about probably 1.5 inches right in front. It covers the whole yoke there. And then that other part, we got to put our makeshift drive shaft back in there. Just to make sure that we're not going to get too close here. I don't think we should, but just to double check before we weld that other tail end onto it, because obviously we cut it too short, then we're kind of out of luck. So we'll just double check that, make sure that that temporary drive shaft, because there is measurement wise supposed to go at the rear end where it meets the yoke up and down 4 inches. So for travel, obviously. So it'll be fixed here on the front yoke where the transmission is, but back here at that rear end, up and down, you know, you got some play and some travel there. So should be plenty fine. But either way, I'm just going to double check that, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut this down, and then this is what we're going to start working on next. Get all that fit up, and then we're gonna put this last loop in. I gotta weld this up. This has adjustment, as you can see here, up and down for the width of that yoke or tunnel there. So that's what we're gonna be working on now. We got the center carbon out that I just took out, and obviously that's gonna have to be recut and fit, but we gotta get everything in there and make sure it's all gonna be happy where it lands. So that's what we're gonna be working on now. Go ahead, well, while I'm doing this, I got y'all here, just go ahead and slide this bad boy in there. Hey, you want to hold this up here where it goes? You might as well go ahead and put it in. You haven't shaved down those ends, so you gotta kind of put it in at an angle yet. Yeah, there you go. Okay, give me this side first. Those quick release pins are so nice. Up, up. Bingo, there she is. So this is where we're at. We got some play here. Obviously it's gonna play on there, so we got to make sure that we got it all centered up right to marry up to the back, and so it'll exit the cab. But there it is, and I actually just got in the car, man. It's perfect placement for where the shifter is gonna mount, right in this general area. So it'll be setting up here up top.
Should be right about there, and then it should go about right there.
Alright. Should be plenty fine then. So here is we ended up makeshift tunnel. This is with the angle that we had on it, it was kind of tough to make it cut because we were getting some angles right in here on this side, right there, and right there. So it was kind of tough to get this angle through here with also getting this cut squared. So we just went ahead and took our measurement, 6 inches here, which is that enclosure there, and then what we were kind of wanting our width to be, which we decided to go ahead and do 10.5 on this side, which is where it exits the chassis or the cab there. So this is somewhat what we're looking at kind of being here. So it's kind of hard to see here, but we placed that on the inside of the sheet metal, and we made our marks, and we cut the front side of it right here already. We cut this side so it's squared off to the back, and then we're going to cut that on both sides. There's the other one, and then the back side. So then we'll make another piece just like it, weld it up. If it's a fraction off, it won't really matter, because like we said earlier, we just got to be within at least 4 inches up and down. So that's going to be, we'll have plenty even if we're a fraction of an inch off. The main one that matters is this one up here, and we're dead money on with 6 inches. So we're going to go ahead and get this cut. And then after that, we should, well, we'll actually have to get the loop in and then make sure everything's squared up, and then tack it on and get her welded. So I'm gonna give a little update here. Reason being is because on accident we had the video on picture instead, or the camera on picture instead of video. So while we were doing all this, getting the back half of the drive shaft tunnel married up with the front half here, we were only taking pictures and we weren't videoing, didn't realize it. So we had it set in the car. We got everything centered in between the frame rails. We used some foam to make sure it was set up high enough and where it'd marry up to the front tunnel properly. and then we had the loop in there temporarily just to kind of help keep it centered as well. So we shimmed it up with some foam so it had a little give, but we were still dead center of it, and then we tacked it on in the car. So what I'm about to do here now is I'm about to weld this thing up shut, and then after that we will most likely, I believe, go ahead and get the other loop in, and then we'll cut it for length, because just in case it does shift just a little bit, move just a little bit, we want it to exit the cab at the right position. So we'll probably, the plan is to put the loop in here first and then cut it for length. So we're going to get to welding on this bad boy. Alright, there it officially is. Cut, hopefully fit. We shall see. I did leave a little bit of overhang, so that panel will probably come up to about right in here. So there'll be a little bit running past. We're actually probably going to remake that panel, but all in all, now we got to really just do the floor pan, and we're going to put it back in there, make sure everything lines up, and it'll be ready for probably paint. Probably just paint it for now, maybe powder coat it later down the road if it starts to show some wear and tear, but we're ready to just get it in the car for now, so we'll probably just paint it at some point, at least primer it now so it won't rust, especially with us touching it, moving in and out of the car. So clean these up at some point as well before we paint it, but all in all, it goes in there pretty nice, so we'll get back in the car.
Well, so you are coming from this side. Yes. Don't echo through the hole now. Okay, hang on, go back up. Sorry about that. Okay, now you can come down. We're on.
Alright, so I failed to show all this process, and I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot that we do in between video and that y'all don't see, but either way, we try to show the most important part. So like we said, we're gonna remake the panel back there. Reason being is because with the new tunnel, where it exits the cab in the back, there's the old hole left a pretty decent gap on both sides, so we couldn't just cut this out bigger. I guess we could have, but it would have had a big old hole in it. So we remade the pattern out of cardboard here, and we fit it up in there, and it did make the tunnel go in a little bit tougher, I will say that. But we'll see what happens with this carbon. Hoping we can get it all in one piece and it all work out in our favor. But either way, we went ahead and made the pattern there, and then used the old one to mark it back out on the carbon here. So we got it marked out. We're going to cut it out now. Got to put the hole in the middle, and hopefully all marry up and we can get it all in there pretty easy. It's all in. So we didn't video it, just it's too dark in here. Don't have a lot of room to set up the camera, so we didn't video put it in, but went in a lot easier than that cardboard did. So and I think we look pretty good. It's pretty tight around that tunnel. A little gap at the bottom, but it is what it is. So here it all is. Everything's back and enclosed. Pretty happy with it. Now all we gotta do is put the shifter on, or we gotta get the shifter in. Shifter should be in this week. We'll get that mounted, and then we're gonna prime everything for now temporarily, and then we'll get it painted later. So stay tuned. We'll put the shifter on, and then that'll be it for inside here. Alright, so here's what we got going. Now we've got the shifter in. So as you can see, our M&M shifter here. One thing to note with this, so first and foremost, I think the M&M shifter is one of the best looking shifters out there, and from what I've heard, performance wise, it's really smooth and just a nice all around piece. So went through originally and ordered this shifter. Larry got it for us through M&M out of Jeff City, and honestly, it's on me. I originally, when he asked me what color, I just said let's just go all black, and I am very pleased with all black. I like all black. Then I called back later, and I'd actually looked on their Instagram and saw that they have a milled finish. So the milled, it's all black, the one that I wanted. They have a different color options as well, but the one that I wanted was all black, and the milled in the middle here, and then on the outside, it's like a polished look. So I asked if I could get the milled. Well, long story short, you can see here we got the black one. But either way, like I said, it's on me. I originally said the black, and then went back on my original ask, I guess, if you will. So either way, we haven't got the converter yet. So what we're going to try and do is get this one mocked up via the attachment here to go on the tunnel, and not touch this, obviously, to mock it up and everything, but we're not going to put any scratches or anything like that in. And hopefully when we go pick up the converter, we can swap it out with one of the other ones, because it sounds like they have it available. So we'll see. Either way, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. This is shifter up, we're running, and now what we're doing is we're going to get it all set in here. And you can see here we got everything plasticed off already to get this painted. So in this video, we're also going to do that. We're going to get this painted, but first we got to get the shifter on so we can paint the tunnel and everything else. So Dad's got the chromoly piece there. We're just going to weld a little 2-inch piece here for that shifter to bolt on, and then yeah, and we got to get it all level, and we got it marked to where it's comfortable for me in the driver's seat. And we're going to get that cut down, welded on, and then we're going to pull transmission out of here and get all this prepped and ready. We got some other stuff we got to get closed off and taped up and plasticed off so we can get all that painted. So we're going to get to work on that, get this shifter in there, and yeah. So like always, let's get to work. There it is, it's all in. We just kind of squared it up. What we did was we squared it up with the bottom of the chassis here. So obviously with that top frame rail, it's not square, but it's square this way in the car, square this way with the bottom, and then obviously this way. So the bars kind of throw it off a bit, but it's pretty well dead on. So now all I got to do is weld that, finish weld it, weld it all four sides, tack weld it. Now I got to finish weld it, and then we're getting everything back out of here. Tunnel transmission once again, getting the tunnel transmission out and getting all that painted. So looks good in there, happy with it, and fits me perfect too. So we're gonna get to breaking it down and finish weld that and get everything painted. Project. So as you can see, we got the tunnel back in the car after it's been painted. Went ahead and painted it the same color the car is going to be, and as you can see, same color the chassis. So it's back in the car, all complete. Everything's all closed up. Floor pan, the back pan there that exits the cab, all closed up. And we got the shifter back from M&M. So as you can see up here at the top, they swapped out the grips for us pretty quick and easy. And man, I think it really ties it together and looks really good. So we're really blessed that they were able to work that out for us. But really pleased with the way that it turned out. Everything's done. We hope that you enjoyed it. And we hope also that we can get this video tied up really quick here. And then we're going to be rolling out another one right after that. So the plan is to get the video in the same week of the car being turned over and running. So please stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit that little notification bell on the bottom so you know when these videos are rolled out and it pops up and you have the opportunity to view them. And like I said, you'll be seeing the car fire up here pretty shortly. We're blessed to have you, and we'll see you very, very soon. So stay tuned. Until next time, God bless.